Jealousy is a terrible trait, just saying. He's getting it Tuesday, I believe. So, all right. Everybody good? Then I shall begin. Hello, Ride On people. So you join me on a nice July day on my Bmw M1000R competition in white aluminum, and what have we got? Done 1,376 miles so far, and really enjoying the bike. The original tyres this comes on is the Bridgestones, which I'm not usually a huge fan of, but they're doing an okay job, I'd say. They're pretty grippy. They're okay in the wet and they're really good in the dry. I would just, when they're done, probably another 500 miles or so, I'll probably swap them out for either some Supercoursers or Michelin power cups or something like that. Anyhow, had zero problems with the bike. Starts first time, and yeah, it's been a joy to own so far. I've done a few mods to it, but nothing outrageous in terms of thought I'd gone down the wrong road then, but not apparently. And yeah, I've done a few mods, just things like, you know, put my anti-vibration quad lock on, fit in my Zumo, fit in my Moto 2 so I know where I'm going and can see the hazards ahead on waves. And I fitted some crash bobbins to the front and rear spindles. I fitted some paddock stand bobbins so I can use my pitbull stand to elevate it. And other than that, just Evotech bar end weights, which I think really help with vibrations significantly. You still get vibrations, of course, but you know, it's an inline 4 at the end of the day and it makes a lot of power. But I don't find that they numb my hands very often. Occasionally I'll get a tingly finger when I've had to hold onto a gear for a really long time at the same revs and yada yada yada. But it's pretty uncommon now, and the more miles I do, the smoother it seems to get. And I think that's true of my friend's Brian's, which I rode during the braking period, and it was horribly vibey. And then after 5,000 miles, I rode it and thought, oh yeah, this is fine. I can live with this. So I think it's a question of if you're susceptible to vibes, you might want to ride a demo and ride it a long time, get a good feel for it. But I wouldn't let that put you off if generally you don't suffer from handlebar vibes in terms of them making your hands go to sleep. You're still going to get some tingles. It's a lightweight inline 4, produces you know, 200 horsepower. It's going to happen, I'm afraid. So there's that, and I think that's pretty much the worst thing negativity wise. Good things is I think the range is pretty reasonable for this kind of bike. You know, you've got about 160 miles, something like that, maybe 170, and you know, economy is probably not fantastic, but you know, you don't buy a bike like this to worry about fuel economy. And the brakes are the best I've ever tried, and in terms of handling and grip, it's right up there with the very best, right up there with the Street Fighter V4S, the Street Triple RS, and other exceptionally well sorted and handling motorcycles. I find that the mirrors are quite acceptable after fitting the Evotech bar end weights, but they were super blurry before. You really couldn't see anything out of them. I wouldn't say they're stationary and crystal clear now, but I can at least tell not only what type of vehicle is behind me, but like, you know, who from the crew is riding behind me and what bike they're on, for instance. So significant improvement there. Comfort wise, I always think that you need to do about 1,000 miles before you make judgment calls on comfort, because you need to kind of adjust for the bike, and your body needs to, you know, learn what the seat and suspension is like and have a bit of you know, experience of those things. And oh, hello, are they okay? Yeah, I think they're just having a leg stretch, so they're okay. And I think just don't want to miss my turning up here. Craig Gap Road, lovely little back road, if a bit bumpy. Anyway, I digress. Yeah, I think comfort is something that you've got to mould yourself to the shape of the bike. The bike isn't going to do it to you. So I think you need to put some miles on it and see how your body feels after that. At first I thought the suspension was very, very stiff and it wasn't all that comfortable, but as time's gone on, I can quite happily do 200 or 300 mile days in the saddle, and it's really only the last kind of 50 to 60 miles or whatever I'm starting to feel you know, quite a bit of discomfort and need a leg stretch, but the rest of the time it feels pretty good. And obviously the more you're able to use some of the performance, the better the suspension feels and comfort feels. In terms of the way in which the bike looks, it looks incredible. You know, get a lot of compliments wherever you go from bikers and non-bikers. They love all the carbon fibre. It's very blingy. Obviously carbon fibre wheels are still ridiculously cool to look at. I think in this kind of lighter colour rather than the black, it really makes the carbon fibre pop, so it tends to be quite a showstopper or crowd puller, if you like. So if you like that sort of thing, you know, if you're into the kudo element, then you know, it's pretty nice, I guess. In terms of performance, it's obviously ample, but at the 600 mile service, obviously I had the engine unlocked because you're restricted to 8,000 revs whilst it's running in, and then I also had the torque optimised control map fitted, or TOC fuel map, which is a BMW owned map, so you're no problem with warranty and stuff, and that just gives you a little bit more horsepower and a lot more torque in the mid-range, which is a lot more usable on the road, you know, kind of 4,000 to 8,000 revs. Is, you know, where you'll feel that extra benefit. And when we've done roll-on tests with the guys with their M1000R competitions, we found that it accelerates quicker, although not quite as pronounced, I would say, as my MkII, which I also had the torque optimised map fitted, and when I ride my MkII against other guys with MkIIs in a crew who haven't had that applied yet, it's a no-brainer. You just, you know, particularly in second gear, you just get several bike lengths in rolling on from, say, 4,000 revs in second gear, which is usually the one that most people complain has a bit of a flat spot on the stock map. And so that's kind of where we are so far. I don't really know in terms of next things I might do. I might add a radiator and cooler guard. I don't know anybody that's ever punctured one, and even the workshop manager said the same. You know, if you're not riding the bike off-road, you probably won't puncture it, but you're going to damage the fins, that's for sure. The stones are going to bend some of the fins and all the rest of it and stuff. But when you put guards on top, you add more weight, and you also restrict the airflow to an extent. It's just natural. You're trying to stop things hitting that oil cooler or radiator. So I'm in two minds really, because you know, you hold one of those, it's wear and tear, but the cost of a radiator on an M bike, wow, don't bear thinking about. They're huge. They're like the size of a car. So I don't know, I might add those from Evotech. That's pretty much it really. I've got no plans to fit, you know, apply a Bren tune or fit a full exhaust. In dynamic mode, I find the exhaust is more than loud enough when you open it up. Of course, I prefer the looks of a aftermarket exhaust because you've always got that big collector box. But hey, you know, the standard one sounds great, and doesn't cost you any more than the price of entry. So I think I'll be sticking with that, at least until it's out of warranty. Assuming I still have the bike then, you know. Whenever I buy a bike, I always tend to think, oh, it's the best thing ever, and I'll keep it forever. And then, you know, 3 years down the line and 15, 20,000 miles, I'm thinking, oh no, you know, I want to try something else now. And why not? You know, if you can and you want to. Variety is the spice of life, and choice is good. So, yeah, I have to see. He's giving me the hands up because he was going to cut the corner then. These people, eh? Good golly. Man, it's pretty out here. Gotta love Georgia's rolling meadows and hills. So one question you might be asking yourself is, so which bike do I prefer? Because I'm lucky enough to own two M bikes, two 2025 M bikes, the MkII and the MR. And it's a very difficult one to answer without sounding like a cop-out, but I think in terms of sheer fun, it's impossible to beat this bike because it's so agile, it's so leery, and so punchy, and its power to weight ratio is just, you know, it's obscenely good. So I think in terms of that, I would say, you know, if you're a bit of a hooligan and you want to have a lot of fun on the road as well as at the track, then an MR is your, you know, it's your kiddie. Or if you want to go even madder, the double R, of course. But I'd really only recommend the double R for the track. Much as I've ridden it on the road and it's perfectly good, it's really only going to show its best on the track. In terms of the MkII, I think if you're a tall guy, and particularly if you're coming from an adventure bike and you want a really sporty adventure bike, and you're looking at bikes like the Pikes Peak and the RS Multi, yeah, the MkII is your Huckleberry, all right. That's the one to buy, and it's purely because, you know, you've got the ergonomics of an adventure bike, but you've got this kind of power. An M power is obscenely perfect for safe overtakes, for instance, on the road. And the MkII is much better, of course, if you want to take a pillion, and it's also a little bit more practical in terms of, you know, strapping luggage to it. So I put a really big kind of 60-litre SW Motec Pro tail bag on it last month, I think it was, and went away for a long weekend. Perfectly excellent, great, particularly for, you know, solo touring and for shorter tours like long weekends. It's perfect. If you want to go to you know, Europe for 2 weeks, or, you know, tour across North America for 2 weeks, you probably need a GS, or if you really want a sporty bike when you get home, the Multi. But if the sort of riding you see in this video is the sort of thing that you tend to end up doing at the weekends, a bit of canyon carving and lots of elevation changes and, you know, having fun, the MkII is an excellent choice. It's more comfortable than this, so better for doing the extra miles, but I wouldn't say obscenely more comfortable. You know, it's a hardcore bike, that MkII. Just make no mistake about that. Know what you're buying when you buy one. It's not a plush, bouncy castle by any means. It's really quite a firm, rigid chassis, and suspension is sports bike stiff. But if you know that and you want like M-type ultimate braking power, then it's kind of a perfect road bike, really. I think best is very subjective, and the best, anything is subjective, and what's perfect for you might be terrible for somebody else. But I think if you want an upright bike that looks pretty mean and is very fast and very capable, the MkII, if the looks do it for you, you won't be disappointed by the bike for sure. It really is something else. And again, if you want just that little bit more agility, perhaps you love race replicas, sports bikes, and you're coming from something like a Panigale or an R1, something like that, and you want just more upright ergonomics, but you still want a sports bike underneath you, get the MR. The MR is great. The Street Fighter V4S is fantastic as well, but you're going to be looking at a big service bill at every 15,000 miles because of Desmo valves and how difficult it is to work on that bike. And anything else is just that little bit softer. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you'd sooner have a smooth, predictable bike, buy a standard S1000R or a Torino V4, for instance. But if you want that little edge, you need an MR. And if you want, the agility and the unsprung weight and the cool looks and pride of ownership when you open a garage door, you really want competition. And the price of entry, unfortunately, is about 30k. So that is not fun. And sure, you can buy. One of my subscribers said, well, why would you want a bike that produces more than about 100 horsepower? And I absolutely totally agree with that. In fact, I think you only need about 80 on the road, really. I'm barely scratching the performance of this bike on the road. But I think, much as you only need 80 horsepower, the nice thing about having a lightweight 200 horsepower bike is you've got 200 horsepower brakes and chassis and agility. And then when the unexpected does happen, something runs out in front of you, you have all those tools in your armoury to try and get you out of danger. And that's a very safe thing, really. So if you can, all the Porsche guys having fun. So I think if you can be a little bit sensible, you want to have some fun, but within reason. If you can be a little bit sensible with the performance, an M bike can make an excellent purchase in terms of safety, believe it or not. Just because you get through a corner and there's gravel, you can change your line, you can trail brake, you can bank, someone runs out in front of you, you've got the best stoppers that I've ever tried, and you've got some of the best handling as well. So if you overcook a corner, the bike's better than you, so you just lean it that little bit further and you are good to go. In fact, let's get my sporty screen up. Showing lean angle left and right 40 degrees at the moment. See whether I can improve upon that a little bit. 43 left now. 43 right. What I'll do is kind of enough on the road, 43, 45 degrees. It's you know, none of us are Marquez, right? On slicks, definitely not. But it's a fun little display that BMW give you, showing your the amount of brake you're using, the acceleration, how much the traction control is cutting in, and what your lean angle are. And it's kind of reset every time you turn the bike off and on again if you're using the sport mode. So it's just a little fun fact. And interestingly, this is also available on lesser sportier bikes like the GS, just as an FYI if you didn't know. I'm not sure the camera will pick it all up, but just know that the sport odometer graphic scheme, call it what you will, is available on other BMW bikes, including the MkII as well. And what a beautiful day today. Really enjoying this ride. We've got like 12 riders today, and it's just been an exceptional time. And had a decent run through there on the Richie B. Russell. Thank you so much, sir. We love you. We love drivers. Georgia drivers are some of the most courteous I've ever come across in the main. You treat them with respect, they'll treat you with respect. And when you're out on a road like this, where you've got no housing estates and subdivisions, no schools, no children, no hikers, you have just open, you know, countryside in the middle of a forest, they're quite happy for you to have a little bit of fun. They don't want to spoil it for you. So, time and place, children. Do your research, go and find the roads less travelled and which are safer to have a little bit of fun on, and then learn your craft and yeah, enjoy your day. Alright, well that's another update on the M1000R. What's been happening with the crew is lots of new bikes, and there'll be more videos coming out on that. Steve has got himself a Panigale V2S. Doug has also got himself a Panigale V2S with terminonis fitted, and I've already ridden that bike without the termies. I'm looking forward to riding it with, because it's about, you know, 12 pounds lighter and another 6 horsepower, and I'll probably then put the camera on and make a video of that, because I think that's going to be a lot of fun riding that. And Rob has just bought Street Triple RS in black, so it's kind of all happening, guys. I hope your summer is absolutely amazing so far, and I'm just going to pull over here so the rest of the crew can kind of catch up a little bit. But yeah, looking forward to more rides in the sunshine this summer, and having a good time. Alright, sayonara.